So, for everybody who's tuning in right now, this is the first ever episode of Play It Like You Know It. We will be doing one of the characters from Bloodline Champions every week. Today we're going to be covering Ranid Assassin. I have Kurd with me. He's going to be giving me pointers and coaching on everything I'm doing right or wrong while we do the placement matches for this threes team. And we're going to be doing all the placement matches, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so we're going to start up the queue here. Hopefully it's not going to be one of those days where we have like a 10-minute queue. We've just been sitting here talking for 10 minutes, and we could have just been in the queue for that one. Oh, perfect. Okay.
Wow, instant queue, that's cool. There are some decent teams queuing right now, so, well, not the strongest.
Now, while we're in the map phase, what would you say is a really ideal map for Ranid, and which one would you say is kind of like the worst map ever for Ranid?
Ranid is one of those bloodlines that is not reliant on a map, like an Alchemist is, or Inhibitor.
Certainly.
But it could still make a difference. When you're facing an engineer, you really do not want to play on Dubaku, or, well, something that's really huge. Ranid is pretty fine on close maps, with some pillars to back him up, so you can just juke around them, dodge the long-range stuff, and faking around the pillars with stealth is so easy to. People usually don't see you coming, unless they get their sound really loud and can hear your stealth.
Yeah. So right here we have the Hanging Gardens of, I'm not sure how to pronounce this, Severe, I think it is. And so that should be a good map for Ranid because it's really small.
Yes. You can basically fight on the whole map. It's ideal for Ranid in my opinion. It got pillars, but it got open spaces as well, which are necessary sometimes.
Yep. Okay. So what do you think of this enemy comp? I believe it's Reaver, Guardian, Psychopomp.
Yes. I got a thing for a little bit. Guardian is really underpowered in my opinion. He's a free energy bag for Ranid. You basically want to try to apply your darts on both Reaver and Guardian. That way you slow both. Be sure to not get hit by parry or trance. You now did 4 darts, which can be dangerous versus good Guardians. You just want to do like 2 on one target and then swap, and hit the other 2 on someone else. The stream is really laggy for me. I don't know if it's just me or whatever.
Oops. Okay, so you may have noticed in the startup I kind of did what you were talking about, where I cloaked into darts, and you were saying that was not so good of an idea? Was that?
You hit 4 of your darts on one person.
Okay.
And they got a dispel and 2 trances. You do not want to hit both or all.
Okay.
So if you apply them to all or 2 people, they will be much harder to trance, and they can't be dispelled by just one other side.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
It's pretty hard for me to catch up, like it's lag.
Yeah.
Anything to make it better. I don't think I can.
We'll just try and do the best that we can. So it kind of looks like our astronomer is getting kind of tunneled by the Guardian and Reaver. What kind of healing techniques does Ranid have? I mean, obviously you can use the camouflage with M1 in order to stun somebody, and that might be really good to get somebody off.
Ranid is not really that much of a peeler, but if he gets free damage like that, it can be devastating if it's in the right hands. Well, what you want to do is apply your slowing stacks to more than one person, and then Toxic Bomb to apply the slow on all of them. You can use your blind on max range for really long blind, or use your X blind on all 3 if they're all on your healer. A 2-second blind on 3 people can be devastating. Can just completely ruin the whole tunnel tactic. And the Toxic Bomb applies some nice slow. And with the slow, it should be easy to hit the stone from Astra. What you can do as well is try to move around when you M1. If you hit the first M1 of Ranid, you can basically move to the side and still hit the second second one.
Okay, so I just built up my ulti. What? Obviously, I'm not going to be able to use it, but this question is still valid. What sort of abilities can block the explosion for Ranid ultimate? Obviously, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
There are so many skills that can interrupt it, or at least diminish the damage. You got the Alchemist Barrier, Foreign Treasures Roots, Stone Shield from Glutton, but you can also use some more advanced stuff, like the Gunner Space, the Ranid Space, the Ranid X-Blind, which makes you immaterial. Be aware though, X-Blind can still get you stunned versus a Reaver Trance or what was it again? The Reaver Trance and the Vanguard Reflect. So it's a little bit buggy, but skills like these that make you immaterial. You can also use the Igniter Ultimate or the Ranid Ultimate to dodge stuff like Deadly Injection and Venom.
Okay, so all of those are skills that we're going to have to make sure are not off of cooldown when we're using this Ranid ult. So, how would you say is the best way to line up 3 people? What I'm having trouble is I've gotten ults off where I hit 2 people, if I'm lucky enough to hit 1 person, that is. I haven't really gotten off an ulti that hits all 3. Is that uncommon, or would you say that you do it on purpose?
It's certainly possible. I would even say that I basically never use it unless I can try to hit 3.
I see.
It's like a really long range line, and the first time you use it, you will not be used to the speed and the range. But after a while, you start playing Ranid more, you have that feeling, and you can hit multiple targets. And with the Ranid stun, that is what makes it easy to line it up. Like you just said, like these are the skills you want to avoid to not use ulti before they have that off cooldown.
Yeah. Or
on cooldown, basically. But you can use it the other way around too. If you use it while they still have their cooldowns, you're forcing cooldowns. And if you force those cooldowns, you can just collapse on them with everything you got, because they just use their space, their shields, and everything to block your damage.
That's true.
And you can just use your other skills to do damage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've noticed that when I play Thorn, I kind of take it as my duty to, if Ranid hits 2 people, especially me, that I use my Thorn Shield on that person and use my space at the same time. But at that point, I've used up all of my outs, and
that's the point where the game could be turned around.
Yeah. And the Ranid can just train on me, and I really have nothing to do about it. So it also kind of sounded like you don't use your ulti as much as you use your EXs. Would you say?
That also depends on the composition.
I see.
If I see a chance to drop someone below their recoverable health, I use my X, and that is to clutch basically.
Yeah.
Like using your ulti takes 3 seconds to do a huge amount of burst, and sometimes you just want to do the stun and X dart combo to have that quick nuke. And basically that's what you do on Alchemist when they're 50% with no barrier. Because Alchemists heal so hard, saving up for ulti is usually not worth it because they have their barrier again.
Yeah.
It's also for X-Blind. When you're in trouble, you're in a pinch, or you wanna save your healer because he gets tunneled by 3 guys, use your X's. Use your X dart, which slows 3 people if you hit 3. Or your X blind, which will blind 3 people, or 2. The Ranid X's are really situational, and if you do not time them correctly, it can be a huge waste of energy.
Certainly. So, I guess there are certain comps that you want to save up your ulti, and there are certain comps that you don't. I believe Revel Strike said that he was going to be switching over to Blood Priest. Do you think that synergizes well with Ranid Assassin as opposed to Astronomer?
Well, Astros often use their stone right before your Venom is about to hit, which can be a huge pain in the ass and just completely diminish the damage.
Certainly.
Astro Ranid is fine though if you manage to land a stone or a moonburst after your stun.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that works pretty well. Or you can knock people back into Moonstone using your lunge.
Exactly. But it takes a lot of coordination, and with Blood Priest, you can space someone while you try to stun him. For example, Inhibitor uses Fuju. Blood Priest can just space him, and you can stun him. That way his Fuju is gone, and you have a free stun. You can also do stun insects. What you can do more, when someone hit his ulti, for example, you hit Alchemist and some other 2 guys. The Blood Priest can space the Alchemist right before he will use a barrier or teleport.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it takes a lot of coordination, but those are those little things that could just turn around the game.
Oh, awesome. I was just about to say, we're having a problem with finding a new game, but right when I say that, pumps up. Okay.
So, this is a much lower graded team, which should you give more of a challenge to practice around it a little bit more without getting stomped like the last match. No offense, but...
Yeah, we were definitely getting stomped, and honestly, looking at my TPS, I wasn't doing all that much. I admit that. It didn't really feel like I was putting on pressure or something to that effect.
It's cool. After those 10 games, you will be a Ranid Pro.
Okay. Look forward to that. So we have...
you can,
oh, go ahead.
When you're failing, you can always just blame your coach. I mean... Isn't that what students do with their teachers?
Oh yeah, all the time. It's just like, it's not my fault, it's his. Okay, so we have Thorn, Glutton, and Herald here. What do you think about this?
Thorn, Glutton, and Herald. Are you talking about the enemy? Oh, you can see.
Oh yeah.
Of course, I couldn't see the pics yet. I don't really understand the point of Herald in this. I mean, an Alchemist would have been awesome. You can just triple ulti and kill something that has no outs, but I don't really see the synergy of this. But yeah, double tanks should be incredibly easy for Ranid. You can just farm your energy. Do not try to rely on your ultimate too much. But you can use your ultimate, that's not a problem, but there's a big chance that we'll use just scales to diminish the damage. Almost. It's pretty important to hit those jumps as they're such a huge nuke and energy gain, but that's what you will learn after playing a little bit more.
Oh jeez. Well, I got
Do not always try to use your blind as a gap closer without hitting it. It's of course it can be useful, but you really want to hit those max range blinds to do 200 damage in 3-second blind.
Oh, I forgot. It does do more damage to more distance. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm used to the pre-patch Ranid, which it always did the same amount no matter what.
Nope. No, that was never like that.
Oh, what?
That's the X blind.
Oh, the EX blind does it. Okay. Oh, I just did it again. Okay, so you were saying about how you always want to hit your... you always want to hit... I'm sorry, your space.
Yeah, Frog Leap.
Your Frog Leap right when... always. Just pretty much always want to hit it because it does a huge nuke. I'm sorry, it's really hard to concentrate on this.
It's cool, it's cool. I'll just do the talking now. Let me see. See, you went into stealth before you really had available targets to hit.
Yeah.
The Thorn still had his treacherous roots, so he would just use that, which is, of course, good that he used it, but it would have been more successful if you just waited till you had a target you could actually do some damage to, and use your WASD just to move around. And that's the problem with people who just learn Ranid. They are too afraid to use their normal movement, and they basically always wait till they have any kind of skill to use. But don't forget that 50% of the Ranid damage is usually M1.
Really?
Yeah, 50%. Usually about 20% or 30% Frog Leap. And the rest is basically darts and blind.
Huh. I would have figured that Toxin Bomb would have been really high up on there.
That depends on your random playstyle, but I prefer to just use my darts as a slowing skill and not as a damage skill.
Yeah, because the Toxin Bomb takes off the slow, and that can sometimes be more damaging than the actual damage.
Exactly.
I see.
But of course, do what feels right for you, and yeah, I mean, it's so situational. Like this whole game, it's so hard to tell you what to do always because it's always different.
Yep, and that's kind of the whole point of why we're trying to do this series. And I would have hoped to have an instant, or rather a lack of delay for the stream. I completely missed that camouflage. You're about to see it. I would have liked to have no delay for the stream whatsoever in order for it to be kind of like a feeling and situational thing. Just give tips. And right now, we're doing good, just talking about it, but we're definitely going to work on the stream. We're going to see how we can get this to work.
Alright. What I noticed is that you really use your cooldowns too much. You are really reliant on your skills.
I see.
Like right now, you walk circles while waiting for your stun and your darts to come up. Well, you could have just walked to Herald, WASD, and F1 him.
Okay.
Good job hitting the Frog Leap there. You can almost line 3 people up with your ulti. She went right through the woods, which was not ideal. I'm pretty sure I used camouflage to get out of that. That increases your speed, right? Camo indeed increased your speed, but wasn't entirely necessary. Harold just used his space, you could have just collapsed on him.
Okay, so you're saying about relying on your skills too much. What I think you may be referring to is I was kind of just, instead of using Frog Leap, I was just kind of walking around to get into position first. That's what you meant?
No, you basically were just like walking circles until you had your stealth or your darts.
Oh, okay.
So you should try to. Good stun right there. Oh wait, yeah. Using your your blow darts and melee range is definitely not ideal because really good jump, by the way. Really need nuke. Good job. Because you can just do like 220 M1s if you hit both, or sometimes even more. And if Herald space is away, then you can apply your slowing stacks, and that way you use you're a little bit more fluent. Because if he's close, you could M1, but if he's far away, you can't M1. So why would you use a long-range skill on short range? If he goes away, you can't do it anymore. I can't really explain it that well, but I hope you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. I mean, you're using an ability that you don't necessarily have to use in a situation that could be better
used later on
with a different skill.
Yeah. Right now, Thorn used all his outs, and you could be able to hit him a little bit, and then swap onto the Herald, which just uses space. Herald space. Good job. Now just hit it in. The toxic bomb stun. Good job. There you have a huge nuke again. You could potentially use the X blind. You use the normal one. Right now, Herald has his Chrono Flux on cooldown, his Q, his knockback, his mantra, and that means you should have gone into him and forced his space and just kill. Oops. Stealth, hit him. Now you got your ulti, you got a kill. Try to just save ulti up, wait till they're lined up, and... Oh yeah, you see like that, it's not bad either. A tip, if you get hit by Treacherous Roots, you can use your space, your ulti, or your X blind to avoid the damage of it. Or the root.
Oh, okay.
Good job, you managed to not get dragged all the way down with your roots, with those roots.
Oh yeah, when I was using the frog leap?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, so the Blood Priest. I had a question the other night. I was up against a Blood Priest in a 1v1. It was just me and him left. I actually had probably like half of his health, and I had to finish up this round, or else we were going to lose the match. So I noticed when I watched the replay again, I was hitting his blood shield a lot, and obviously that's not a good idea. So what would you say is a good counter to blood shield, as opposed to just doing absolutely nothing?
Well, I would say that if you're really that low HP, you should not hit him at all in 1 versus 1. Blood Priest is the king of 1 versus 1.
Certainly.
And well, you could do darts, E, and jump. So your darts, toxic bomb, and frog leap.
Okay.
That could do 50 or 60 nuke or more. But then again, the blood shield could just diminish the damage.
Yeah.
I would say just F1, try to kite him a little bit till it's on cooldown, and then hit him, because I think it reduces the damage by 50% and heals him for quite a bit as well, and damages you too. It's too much for 1 versus 1 to do that. That's Ranid should not really win versus a Blood Priest in 1 versus 1 unless it's not really a good one.
Yeah.
That the good ones just insect automatically right after you use frog leaped, and
push you
overall, overall in 3 versus 3, Blood Priest is really easy to farm energy on, because before they have their energy, they can't X-Fear and etc. So if you dodge Fear on the ground, he's pretty much dead if you dodge his space.
If he does Fear, then he's dead.
Yeah, basically. Usually Blood Priests do Fear first, and then when you missed it, they try to insect. If they missed that too, they will try to grab you. But if you manage to space right before he grabs you, and you space back to your original position, you will often land into his back, doing 270 damage.
Pretty good.
And he's out of position, and you're next to him.
And he's used pretty much all of his counters to you.
Yeah. I can't really explain it either, but I hope you get what I'm saying about jumping to him, but to dodge his space and then jump back to your original position.
Oh yeah, I've done that a couple of times before for, I believe it was a Stalker that I did that last on.
Oh yeah, it's the same thing.
Okay, so we're going up against a Grimrock here. What do you think about Grimrock as, what are his vulnerabilities?
I haven't faced Grimrocks for ages. After patch 3.0, he basically just disappeared. I would say he's pretty good versus Ranid because he can diminish a lot of nuke. But still, he's not the best healer at the moment, and I would not try to focus him all that much. I would just farm energy on Glutton. But be sure to CC Nomad, because Nomad can just be a beast if you don't damage her enough.
Okay. Oh. Just got hit by Glutton ulti right there.
Let's see. Right now they're playing the zoning game. Grimrock just uses space. I think you should have used your frog leap a little bit more offensive.
Okay. I was a little bit worried about getting stuck in there with the Glutton. What can I use against his M1 chain? Just using M1 over and over again.
You mean Glutton?
Yeah, Glutton.
As Ranid, I have no problems at all facing Gluttons.
Certainly.
I don't... Even the best Gluttons like Zap are just usually free energy. You should be worried about the meat after you space. But, Gluttons usually try to space you and then instantly meat. But if you use space to dodge their meat, you already got an upper hand. Just blind, and after you blind it, they will often use their stone shield. If they stone shield, you can just freely stack up your blow dart stacks. But be really sure that you're not too close, because every blow dart that hits on that shield will hit you for like 60 or so.
Yeah, it's gonna explode, and that's not good. So your blow darts, they go through the shield. They actually apply the debuff through the shield.
Yep, it's the same with Igniter and Thorn. So, for example, if you want to stack up on Thorn, just shoot 2 or 3, and then space instantly to dodge the treasure's boots.
Yeah. And usually the timing is perfect on it. If you use just 2 darts and then you space, it usually it doesn't incap you.
Exactly. That's the whole reason of it. Like right now, instead of stunning Glutton, you could have as well just applied some darts on him first. But that's all personal, and like when I see you play, I think, that's a good way. I would have done it different, but the result is good, so why not?
Yeah, certainly.
Like with Nomad, if I would coach you for Nomad, just an example, I could have said like, that was bad to go on that one, and positioning, but Ranid is so versatile. I can't really give you negative points.
Especially
I can give you tips, of course, but
yeah. And it seems like in this match, it's going, like you say, the Glutton is the energy farm for me, and the Nomad is really giving me the most problems. However, if I just avoid the Nomad or CC'er, then it's all working out perfectly fine.
Right now I saw that you use your stun onto the stone shield, which was a waste.
Oh.
Because it does apply this, the blind, but it diminishes the damage and will hurt yourself. Oh wait, I mean, not the blind, but stun. It won't stun him at all.
Oh, yeah.
Good job. Now use your venom to get away from it. Yeah. Good job there.
I like hearing with the delay, how you're saying, like, good job and stuff like that, but I'm actually sitting here, I'm dead.
Yeah. You went into an M1 fight, and I think you missed your blind on him. Usually when Gluttons try to M1 me like that, I use just my my blind and create some distance. Ranid is one of the best kiters in game, so...
Yeah, you use your blind to get away.
No, I use it to blind him, but then get away.
Oh, and then get away, okay. Because
That
obviously
way,
it's not going to see where you're going.
Exactly, and then you can just safely apply some stacks. As most Gluttons, like I said before, will use their stone shield when you blind them, just because they're scared. You can get free stacks on it. And you won't win any M1 fight, I can tell you that. There's not a single M1 fight that will benefit you as Ranid.
Okay. And that's because of his DPS, or it's just because he doesn't have a very high recovery, and he usually has 0 recovery health?
Both. It's basically all the other bloodlines either have higher DPS. I think even Herald. Well, maybe not entirely, but it at least gives him a buff, you know? It gives Pump a buff. It gives Ignite or the Ignite buff. It gives Blood Priest a buff. And Ranid just does sheer damage, and usually it gets out-healed. When you're up versus Glutton and wanting, he would just heal it back, or CC you.
Yeah, using meat.
Yeah, that's what I see a lot of Gluttons doing, like M1 fight, and it's like you M1, he M1s, you M1, he M1s,
and then meat.
And then when he had the last M1, he will stun you, so you will be like one M1 behind and CC'd.
Mm-hmm.
But Ranid just has way too long M1 cooldowns, or at least DPS, and he's too squishy for it. He can't just keep up against anyone 1 versus 1.
That's of course why he's the assassin. He's mostly just for jumping in, unloading a whole bunch of burst damage on somebody, and then just keeping away from people.
Yep. It's playstyle dependent, but he can be extremely aggressive, but also extremely kiting and annoying.
Mm-hmm. But if you're going to be aggressive, you should make sure that your dodging skills are on par, and that you're not going to get hit by every single thing that is being thrown your way. Because of course, if you're up there, everybody's going to be focusing on you.
Yes. There are only a couple of Ranids that managed to go really aggressive and be successful at it. And I think the number one example is Pandram. In comparison to Chapirius is a kiter, and Pandram is just going in, ball fuck everyone, and not go out. And I think you can only go that aggressive if your dodging skills are superb, and you actually have better mind games. Because if you do not outplay them, do not outsmart them, you're just getting fucked over.
Certainly.
Good job. Good swap there. Instead of going on the Elk with the Barry, you just hit her a couple of times and then swapped onto the Estro. Which was a good idea. Right now you have double Venom. Sometimes you can follow a little bit too much. You do not always want to follow. Maybe it's because I play triple DPS, but you want to just hit everyone you can hit. And do not ever tunnel someone with Ranid. Because Ranid has such high mobility that you can just... It's so much better to have 2 or 3 people scared of you than just kill one person.
So they're all essentially just running around with like chickens with their head chopped off, as opposed to, I know that I'm safe because the Ranid's not going after me.
Yeah.
Okay.
For example, when I'm playing against some Ranid, and he's just slaughtering my team, or one of my teammates, like he's just tunneling Elk, I can counter tunnel one of his mates without ever having to worry about one of his mates killing me. But when I tunnel someone, and suddenly I get just fucking stunned by Ranid and take 30-40 damage, I'm like, oh, I mean 300 damage. I'm like, oh crap, I can't do that. And people will be more aware of their situation, and they will less likely try to overextend. And for example, if you got a thorn against you, if you never hit the thorn with the shield, he won't shield himself. But if you sometimes hit him and sometimes hit one of his mates, he will need to choose. You get what I'm saying?
Yes. I always have to make that choice myself. Is whenever a Ranid goes into cloak, you kind of have to figure out who should I shield right now.
Yeah, and if you always tunnel one target, it's way too easy to decide whether to shield yourself, shield someone else. But if you're close to 2 people and you're not always tunneling just one, he will need to choose like, damn, which of the 2? Now you should have used your X-Blind to get both. But used Frog Leap, still hit someone, that's good.
Oops.
Oh. Yeah, the X-Blind is really important now. Good job, you used it. Probably before you even hurt me.
Yeah, that was a while ago. Yeah, okay, so Tayron's saying to focus Alk here. It's seeming like a good thing because Alchemist really does not have that much to get out of Ranid's focus or burst abilities.
Depends on the skill of the Alchemist. Some Alchemists can just ruffle stomp Ranids, but overall they do not have too much. But you can't kill Vanguard, it's that easy. You can't kill him with 2 healers. What you want to do is blind Vanguard, stack on him with your dars to slow him, try to dodge his sleep, like never jump on Alk before he slept, otherwise he would just CC you.
Yeah.
And then go on to the Alchemist. What I saw right now is that you use stealth to stun him right next to him, while you were already next to him. You could have also just kept him wanting, and when you saw like an injection cast or a sleep cast, then stun him.